being defensive, they're likely to give you an answer like, no, 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 everything is fine. No, 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 we have it all under control. On the other hand, if you ask the question in the third person, many CISOs I speak with are anxious about this. Is that something that worries you or that concerns you? You're allowing them to be part of a bigger group. You're saying that many CISOs have this problem. And so they can be part of that group without getting defensive about maybe some of the weaknesses that they have, this problem. And so they can be part of that group without getting defensive about maybe some of the weaknesses that they have. So I encourage you, when you write these pain triggers, if you decide to take me up on this, use the third party questions instead of the first party question.
Dave, thanks for clarifying that. I just want to jump in, but I didn't understand what you meant by first person and third person, and now I do. I thought because you were talking about individuals before, so I was
Yep.
thinking you're asking different people, but now I see what you're saying.
No worries, no worries. Thanks for the clarification, Bob. So, a couple of other pain triggers. I've heard from other CISOs that they're worried about gaps between their compliance checkboxes and actual real world protection, especially when auditors aren't looking. Is that something that concerns you? So again, within a matter of seconds, I had 5 questions that addressed different pain points for the CISO that I can go in and ask them. And now you can iterate and expand your scope, right? So we talked a little bit at the very beginning how people are using ChatGPT today. So people are using it to write emails. So why not just iterate and ask ChatGPT next to create a series of 3 emails that employ these pain triggers to engage new prospects, or create a cold call script using the same pain triggers, or create a 13-step prospecting plan to engage CISOs, incorporating email, phone, and LinkedIn touches over a 3-week cadence. And I say 13-step because most salespeople will give up after 2 or 3 attempts to try to contact someone. Industry data recently says it takes 13 touches to get somebody to respond to you. So there's no reason now not to follow up and put in place a 13-step plan to make those touches, because ChatGPT can help you with it. Again, it might not be 100% perfect, but it'll get you 80% of the way there in a matter of seconds. And then you could also do, like a lot of us are using it for today, write a 400-word LinkedIn article addressing the challenges CISOs faced and the impact on them and their businesses. And then finally, expanding your scope, right? I talked about the 4 S's of sales performance, right? Skills, staff, structure, strategy. Let's talk about staff. The next prompt could be write a job description for a candidate with experience selling cybersecurity solutions to our target ICPs and customer persona. That's as simple as the prompt needs to be, because you have the whole ChatGPT history up above. So before I move on, any thoughts, ideas, questions on any of this? I mean, is this helpful?
Hey, Dave, Jordan here from Products That Count. Appreciate you putting all this together. I would say that for me, it's been very helpful. You and I have kind of worked on this in the past about, putting these together and kind of working through these with ChatGPT. And I just wanted to say that now that I've taken the time, I've essentially got an ongoing thread. So anytime I can jump into a meeting, or prior to jumping into a meeting, I can essentially say, hey, ChatGPT, this is the person I'm meeting with, their title in the organization, and I get a full, rundown of all of these different aspects, from pain triggers to questions to ask. And it's just been, extremely helpful in the amount of time it saves me. So thank you. I appreciate you sharing this.
Absolutely. And for everybody, Jordan is a client of mine, and he was brand new to his industry 6 months ago. So he had that thought bubble before about, how do I even approach people in these industries I've never sold to before? And it's by using these tools that Jordan has gotten to this level of comfort in going in and having meaningful conversations with these folks.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think sorry, Dave, before you go on, Yaku here. That third point, the create a 13-step prospecting plan, that is critical, because so many times people reach out once or twice and then they stop. You cannot. You are a cold. When you come in cold, you need to know you've got to stay the long deal.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so important. So just a final few thoughts on a game-changing technology and tool that's coming out. And let me start by just a brief overview of the adult learning process. In what I do, sales coaching and training, it starts with awareness. We talk about what you're doing today, kind of like I asked you all at the very beginning, how are you using AI tools today? So it's thinking about what you're doing, but then knowledge transfer. So the last 30 minutes has been my providing knowledge to you on maybe different things that you could do, different approaches. And the next step is you going away from this webinar and starting to apply what I've been teaching to then build up your skill set. And the beautiful things about skills is that they can be studied, they can be developed, and they can be mastered. So it's only through the application of these thoughts and ideas that you'll build up the skills that will make you successful in the future. And we talk about mastery as really being understanding the theory behind the techniques that we teach. Because once you understand the theory and the psychology, like why did I go into pain and why is pain important? If you understand that, then you know when to bring out the right tool at the right time for the right impact. So the game changer in all of this is going to be AI-enabled role-playing coaching. And I literally recorded this last night. Sandler has just rolled out an AI-enabled role-playing coaching tool. And so it was my first time to interact with it. You'll see I'm a little bit, I'm not so sure of myself because it takes a little practice, I think, talking to an AI-enabled avatar, if you will. But let me just play this. It's about a 3.5 minute, 4-minute recording, so you can see what it's like and what the interaction's like.
Hi, this is Laura Stone. May I ask who's calling?
Hi, Laura. This is Dave Cowan of Cybertech. We had spoke last week on the telephone and set a meeting for today at this time for a half an hour to do a little bit deeper dive. Does this time still work for you?
Yes, I remember our call. Half an hour works fine.
Terrific. And so during this call, I think you'll probably have some questions for me about Cybertech and the types of clients that we work with, the results that we've seen. But just so I can make sure this time is worthwhile for you, is there anything that's top of mind that you want to make sure that we cover during this call?
Well, I've got several projects competing for attention right now. I'd like to understand what kind of time commitment we'd be looking at for implementation and where this might fit in our priority list.
Perfect. So I've written down that we'll cover off on time commitment and the resources that might be involved in a deployment, as well as where it might fit in terms of priorities. And from my side, I'm going to have some questions for you just about your IT infrastructure in general, but also about your staff and really the capabilities that they have in cybersecurity specifically. Is it okay if I ask those questions as we go along?
Yes, that's fine. Though I should mention up front that I'll need to be selective about what technical details I can share about our infrastructure and security posture.
Absolutely. I completely understand. If there's anything that I ask that you have a concern about, feel free to tell me that we'll need an NDA in place or that's not something that you're comfortable talking about. And so typically the way these conversations go is that after about a half an hour, you're going to have a good understanding of Cybertech and what we do and the types of clients that we work with. And I'll have a good idea about you and your IT infrastructure and whether there might be a fit or not with what we do. So let me say right up front, if at any time you feel like there's not a good fit or we're not the right company for you, will you? All right.
Hi, this is Laura.
So I'm going to pause it there. I think you got the idea. And the fabulous thing about this is it gives you coaching feedback. And because we're selling it as Sandler or providing it as Sandler, we have trained the AI tool to embed the Sandler methodology that we teach. So happy to say I got a 5 out of 5 in terms of the upfront contract, and it gives me feedback, coaching feedback in the moment. It called out some of the strengths of what I was doing, but also some areas for growth and things. You know, I've been teaching this stuff for 8 years, and I still have areas of growth. So my point being, this tool isn't great right now. For example, in an growth area, it said I should have addressed her pricing concerns right up front. And I would never tell anyone to do that. They don't have enough knowledge about what their needs are before getting into a pricing conversation. So the tool isn't perfect yet, but the point is it's only going to get better over time. So in summary, and to leave a little time for questions and wrap, effective selling is really about asking the right questions of the right people at the right time, right? AI tools can elevate your sales performance by helping you identify your most likely prospects, learn about those prospects' issues and concerns, develop engaging questions and content to build your credibility. And importantly, you can build your entire sales playbook. So indeed, my advice is, or my coaching is, use ChatGPT and similar tools for everything you're doing these days. And finally, comprehensive training programs that incorporate AI-enabled role-play and coaching are absolutely going to be the fastest, most effective way to achieve sales mastery. So if you are interested at all in a conversation just about your 4 S's of sales performance, if there's anything in terms of skills, staff, structure, or strategy that you'd like to talk about, it's a free conversation, no obligations attached. Feel free to send me an email or go to this QR code and put a meeting on my calendar. Be happy to talk. So Jaco, with that, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, Dave, you want to cancel your presentation mode
Oh,
for us?
sure.
Dave, thank you. Appreciate this was a lot of food for thought. Do we have anybody that has got questions that want to come up and share with us? So while you're thinking of questions, Dave, one of the things that came to mind for me is, what are some of the most common pitfalls that we as business owners and salespeople make? Because, whether we like it or not, as a business owner, especially with SMBs, we are responsible for sales 90% of the time, if not 99% of the time. So what are some of the most common pitfalls you've noticed?
That's a great question, Jaco. I think it falls in a couple of areas.